Hey everybody, what's up? It's JB Illusion here, and we are back. I'm going to start a Racter-centric episode because I believe a mission that he's very highly interested in is about to come up. But first, we need to know a little bit more about the man and his machine. Racter's shop is sweltering hot, even more so than it was the first time you stepped inside. The whir of actuators accompanies the fine motions of the manipulator arms that hang from the ceiling. They're turning an object over and over in their articulated hands, soldering wires and hammering rivets. Ah, friend, welcome back. Racter Tough types a series of commands into his bracer, and the arms relax into an idle posture. He smiles at you, a cigarette dangling from his lip. There, better. That's better. Now, what can I do for you? How you getting along with the other members of the team? Perfectly well, thank you. There are some they all seem competent enough, and there haven't been any major personality conflicts so far. He rubs his chin thoughtfully. So long as they continue performing to an acceptable standard, I can see no reason not to continue our arrangement. It's good to run with a team again. Hey, what? You ran with the team? Okay, what do you think of them personally? They are fine, I suppose. Sorry, I can't hit that Racter voice. Gabbard is quite charming. Isabel keeps to herself. Duncan is doing his best in a bad situation. Gaichu is quite intriguing. I'm very pleased that the team is willing to overlook his unfortunate condition. Many in the shadows wouldn't be. There's a momentary pause. He shrugs. And that, I'm afraid, is all that I have to say. Apologies if you were looking for more. You're still something of a mystery to the group, Racter. Mind if I ask you a few questions? No, I don't mind at all. Not at all. He takes a drag of his cigarette, then slowly releases the smoke. I can't promise that my answers will satisfy your curiosity, of course, but you may certainly ask. Did you emigrate directly from Russia to Hong Kong? No, between my years in Novgorod and my time here in AOA, I spent a year in the free city of Berlin. That was where I got my feet wet as a Shadowrunner, you see. I ran with a team of anarchists for a time, and learned the ropes of the occupation under their tutelage. Anarchists? That must have been interesting. He shrugs. It was to a point. They were disorganized, to be sure, but perfectly capable. We enjoyed a certain level of camaraderie while we ran together. Sadly, we are no longer on the best of terms. What happened? An opportunity arose. I seized it, and in doing so, I left Berlin for Hong Kong. And I did so without much advance notice. My absence made life difficult for them, and they blamed me for their hardships. Oh, you a grown man! If you wanted to leave, you were under no obligation to stay. Thank you for taking my side, but I can see their point as well. As I said, my departure caused some complications for them. That said, I haven't lost any sleep over it. I merely did what I had to do. He looks away, a wistful expression on his face. Koshi scrapes the ground with its forelegs, its sensors fixed firmly on you. Okay. Ultimately, I would say that my time in Berlin was quite educational. Different from my earlier life in Russia, to be sure. As I said, the experience was invaluable. Ultimately, though, AOA is probably better suited to my sensibilities. How so? Life in Hong Kong is more structured than it is in Berlin. Things make sense here in a way that the Flux State didn't. He taps his finger to his temple. I have an orderly mind, everything in its place, neatly labeled and filed away. This approach is what allows me to make sense of the world. To say that the people I knew in Berlin thought differently would be an understatement. Really? Why'd you move from Russia to Berlin if you probably didn't think you were going to like it? He holds his tongue for a moment, considering. When we first met, I told you that I parted ways with Grishin Abrikar under unfortunate circumstances, yes? You mentioned it. There was a circumstance. This same circumstances led me to Berlin. I was wronged, and I would not find recourse in Russia. He says, I suppose that there is no sense in being vague. I'll tell you the story, if you want to hear it. Yo, lay it on me, man. We got number time. You remember the self-repair system I mentioned the first time we met? The module that would allow Koshri or any sufficiently equipped drone to repair itself. I told you that my research had been lost. That was not strictly true. It was stolen by a pair of colleagues who I had long considered friends. Damn. They were researchers from my old lab. They turned against me, stole our work, in truth my work, and defected. They betrayed you? Dang. Yes, driven by desperation, no doubt, and ambition. They had always been fixated on getting out of Russia. Grishin Avek was a nationalized corporation, and they would never get rich as cogs in a government-controlled machine. Okay, I could kind of understand that. In our project, they saw their key to breaking away and earning their fortunes. Never mind the fact that I was opposed to the idea. And so they took what was mine and left me with nothing. Do you have any leads, bro? Yes. The two had long spoken about moving to Berlin. Such was true of a great many academics in Russia. My homeland is a bureaucratic dictatorship, you see. There is little personal freedom, and there are many rules to be followed. As you might imagine, the stable anarchy of the Flux state can be an alluring concept to those who live under totalitarian rule. Berlin is much romanticized back home. Makes sense. If you spent your life tied up in bureaucracy, you could do worse than moving someplace with no rules. Oh, the Flux state has rules, my friend. They aren't codified, but they most certainly exist. Should you ever travel there, you'll want to remember that. But I digress. In the hunt for my traitorous colleagues, Berlin was my only lead. I decided that I would travel there. At best, I would find them, and at worst, I would be a good place to rebuild my life. There was a squeal of tortured metal as Koshi drags its claws over the iron grating that covers the floor. Racter glances down at the drone and it goes calm. He takes a deep breath and continues. It took me over a year to locate my former friends. It was a long, painstaking search, but I was nothing if not determined. I found enough evidence that they'd used my research as a bargaining chip to secure positions at Ares, and that they were here in Hong Kong. And so you came here to Aoi. He nods. I picked up and left the next day. My old team was upset, to be sure. Lucky Strike, in particular, howled for my blood. But I know where my priorities lie. And so here I am. And here they are. And soon I will be ready to act. Lucky Strike was actually a runner that you could hire in Dragonfall. That's interesting. I really must thank you for inviting me into the team. Your abilities will be invaluable when the time finally comes to make my move, assuming, of course, that you'd be willing to help. Of course, when you're ready, just say the word, man. Thank you, my friend. But this is a discussion for yet another day. We aren't ready to hit an Ares facility yet, and there is more intelligence to gather before we make our move. Anyway, when the time comes, I will let you know. I gotta run. Thank you. Be well, my friend. So, that's Racter. I really like him as a character. He and Koshri and his entire worldview is very interesting. He's someone that I could say kind of has to make order and sense of the world. You may find out later on as to why. Let's see, urgent task, what's this? This is from Kindly. Little birds have been whispering in my ear about an urgent, high-paying run. Steelarm Lou, a red pole, managed to get his hands on information concerning a prototype laser weapon in development by Ares Asia Holdings. For years, the Yellow Lotus and the Red Dragon have been locked in a cold war. Despite this, we remain evenly matched. Neither one of us can attack the other without being exposed to devastating reprisals. Lou wants to change this, and he has a plan. Rather than strike directly, Lou intends to aim external forces at the Red Dragon specifically, Knight Errant. He intends to frame a white paper fan named Golden Fong, making it appear that the Red Dragon have been bribing Ares researchers for classified data. 2 leading drone and energy weapons researchers have recently transferred from London to Hong Kong and are running the project. Yup, you know exactly who those guys are. Doctors Taylor and Hardigram were respected in Europe, but in Hong Kong they remain unknown quantities. They are untrusted and therefore are considered untrustworthy. Perfect targets, in other words. We will provide data that will make it look as if the researchers were contacted by Golden Fong and made quite a bit of money, but grew tired of the arrangement. Transferred the attached files to a data chip. The files are bundled with a worm program which will auto-execute when inserted into the appropriate systems. You need not bring a decker, though one may be helpful. You will need to plant data in the visitor records. Okay. Planting the data is only the first part of our task. Okay, what else do we need? You will also need to steal the prototype laser weapon. There is a GPS tracking device attached to it, which Lou will plant deep in Red Dragon territory. The appropriate theft of a prototype weapon by a disgruntled Triad member should convince Ares to dispatch overwhelming force against the Red Dragon, dealing them a vicious blow. As a note, Lou does not care what becomes of the laser weapon. If you wish to sell or keep it, feel free. I've also attached a map of your extraction route. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Central MTR station. Alright. Practically this means that you can exit through the basement directly onto the new MTR line. That's actually really convenient. With any luck, you can be gone without anyone knowing how. Unfortunately, this route is heavily alarmed. So you will be forced to go in the front door. If you can con the front desk, you should have no problems. The facility is both an office and a residence, so strange people coming and going at odd hours is not unusual. If you're not up up to fast talk, however, be prepared to shoot your way in. We're taking this run! Steelarm Lou sends his regards and bids you good fortune and plentiful ammunition. The dramatic Git. Don't die, Hollywood. Our arrangement has been very profitable so far, and I would hate to lose that. Let's see if our dear friend Racter has anything to say about that. My friend, there's something that I would like to discuss with you. Something related to the Ares run that you recently accepted. You may recall my story about my former colleagues, Taylor and Hardigram, the ones who stole my research. They work at that facility. If the auto repair circuits that they took from me still exist, they are there. I need you to bring me on the run to retrieve them. Of course. Thank you, my friend. You will not regret this decision. I guarantee it. Woo! Alright, this is the first, I guess you could say, like, not loyalty mission, but team mission that I thought would be really cool to do. So, let me just check myself real quick. Boom. We got our Counter-Strike, we got Martial Defense, we got Nice Shotgun, we got the Bloody End, and an Ares Predator. I'm pretty happy with that loadout. Honestly, we may or may not be able to get rid of the shotgun. Let's go into Club 88 real quick, just to make sure we got ourselves. Who is this? El Duce? The tall, well-built human has been watching you since the moment you entered Club 88. Superstitiously, of course, glazes over his shoulder and the like, but you're certain he's been watching you. He finally speaks as you draw near. I hear the one to talk about work in the shadows. Maybe? What's it to you? I'm looking for work here in Hong Kong, but I don't have my own team. I ask around who the players are there here in Hoi. They said to talk to you. Call me El Duce. I'm a street samurai, good with shotguns, close combat, and I've got a little bit of medical knowledge and medical know-how on top of that. My rates are reasonable unless it's a run against Shiwase. In that case, it's completely free. Why is it free against them? Because the sons of bitches killed my wife and stole my son. Well, Jesus. Anything to screw them over, I don't need to get paid for. Why'd they take your son? Profit and biology. He's got the genes for a type O immune system. You know what that's for? No, what's it mean? It means that his organs and blood can be donated to anyone. They're universally compatible. If a company wants to produce Bioware on the cheap, they use sinless type O bodies as templates to grow. Oh, the wherein human factories. Oh, dude. Yo. So basically, somewhere in some lab, his son, they basically cut out his heart, and then they just go to grow another one. Ugh, sick stuff, but it's not like we can complain to anybody officially. We don't even exist. Let's talk about something else, okay? I can understand that. Oh my god. There was this episode of Ghost in the Shell where they were growing human organs in pigs. Apparently they can't do that yet, so what they're doing is they're growing them in this sinless person, this boy. Because he's type 0, they will essentially be able to put the biotech in anyone. It won't reject. Just like certain types of blood. Like how, I think it's type O for blood transfusion, goes to anyone. Oh, dude. Have you been a Shadowrunner your whole life? Nope, originally I was in IT. You know, tech support. That's a hell of a jump to being a Shadowrunner. Yeah, well, having your wife gunned down and your kids stolen tends to focus your attention. Sounds like a bad action sim, doesn't it? Still, that's how it happened. One day, Shiwase is getting a reckoning. See you later, Dusa. You too, keep safe, alright? Good freaking lord. That is why Shadowrun is crazy. Welcome back. Business good? Business is booming as always. I really like her. People are easy solutions and they will pay good. People like easy solutions and they'll pay good money for them. Guns are one way, booze and drugs are another. This is why we sell what we sell. Makes sense. My son Callum doesn't understand this. He thinks he should be happier as some corporate drone, but I've been there, and I can say for certain that it's just a long path to where we are now. It all ends with drinking and sometimes killing. At least we're direct about it. Dang. What's the problem with him? There's no problem so long as he remembers his place is here. There are too many ideas in that boy's head. Too much ambition. And ambition like that never leads to good. He should be happy with what we have built for him. He is the eldest and so very smart. One day he will take control of the club and all its business, but he feels trapped here. He wants to be free. The irony is that his idea of freedom is to work for a corporation. I know from experience there is nothing further from the truth. They don't call you wage slaves without good reason. But here we have true freedom. We make our own way. I wish he realized this. I try to make him understand, but it only seems to drive him further away. I worry that if I try too hard, I will lose him to his ambitions. How'd you end up selling guns? Back when my husband worked for Wu Jing, he had a little side operation smuggling weapons. Right under the corporation's nose, strictly small time, barely worth the risk, but it brought in a little extra money, which we desperately needed. But Henry was never good at brokering the deals. He hated that part of the business, didn't care to haggle, always leaving money on the table. We fought about it often. One day he told me to handle it, if I cared so much, so I did. As it turned out, I was better at it, much better. I had worked in the business world before the boys were born. I knew how these things must be done. So I began to make all the deals. I secured the product, I found the buyers. In time, we didn't even need Henry to babysit the shipments. Our influence had grown strong, and now we run everything safely from dry land. That's pretty dope. Let's see what you got. A Remington Room Sweeper. It's a heavy pistol. A heavy pistol might not be bad, but it has basic AoE. Yeah, I think we're good now with the bloody end and everything else that we've got. Shotguns. We could pick up a Remington, but I really like, you know, saving my freaking money. If that makes sense. The more money I save, the better. That's very, very interesting. Let's see. Magic, armor. Well, our key casting is pretty high. We still have enough room for maybe a little bit more on the Adept side. I think that's Caleb. No, that's not that one. The other one, the one who's always selling the drugs, that's Caleb. Let's talk to Spider Shen for a second before we go on this run. Let me take a look at your wares. A katana that shoots electricity. That's pretty dope. Mystic armor. Ooh, mystic armor would most likely be very, very useful. Stride is something that I feel like I really need. So we might pick up Stride and mystic armor and just say F it. I'll buy both. I don't have the appropriate key yet. But we got Stride, Counter Strike, Martial Defense, and Killing Hands. I think we're pretty good with that. Pisha, who may or may not be a woman, I'm not sure. Alright. I think I'm going to end this part here. Thank you guys for watching. Next time, we get Racter's Revenge. If you guys liked it, like in the comments, or like the video. If you feel like saying something, hit me up with the comments, and that's pretty much it. Peace, everybody.